Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Awakened Wellness. It's now officially changed. The website, the information center, everything is lining up for Miss Marie. So Awakened Wellness. So pay attention because we're going to give you all those different sites so you can go there and start learning like I am. Today's show is going to be getting to know you, but before we dive down that tunnel, we want to talk about feedback from previous show. What have you got?
All right. So someone, and there's been a bunch of people that say to me that I don't understand that they don't trust themselves enough to listen. And my response to her and many other people, and that's why I'm bringing this up, is who do you trust enough with your life?
Me. Me. I mean, if I was totally incapacitated, I would have it in case of emergency.
Right, but
on what you're talking about in general, I trust me to make decisions about me because I know me.
So when you're sitting in front of your doctor, how well do you know them? It's okay to get their advice and it's okay to listen to what they have to say, but ultimately it's your choice.
Correct.
So you have to learn to trust yourself. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to feel bad for you if you keep telling me I don't trust myself, so I can't do this. Who do you trust enough to make choices that you would want made for you? Mm-hmm. And that's what I want people to look at.
Right. You just can't, just because there's a label on it doesn't make it so, and just because there's a title on it doesn't mean it's the best.
And sit that with yourself. Go through all your friends. Well, do I like how they live? Do I want them to decide what's good for me? You know, and start picking people apart. And then you start realizing more and more, tag, you're it. Mm-hmm. You're it.
Yep, and you have to believe in yourself enough that you know what's best for you.
And you have to want to listen, and the more you listen to your body, the more confident you get.
Mm-hmm. And not panic when you think something's happening in your body, you think it's bad, when it really is potentially something really good. You just don't remember what it feels like.
It could be, could be. All right, another person, they're starting to make the connection when they exercise. So what they meant by that is they're actually starting to see the muscles connect. The ankle is affecting how the hip's moving.
Oh,
yeah, they're
that's
starting.
Big.
Yeah. So they're actually paying closer attention when they exercise now, and being mindful versus just going through the motion. So I thought that was very cool.
I actually think that's huge because I think a lot of us say we're going to exercise. Well, I've lost X amount of pounds and I've lost this many inches, and I feel a little stronger, a little more energy, but that's a pretty deep dive and something to really notice.
Well, I give people a lot of things for chronic pain and they just go through the motions, and then I'll say, well, how did that feel when you did it? I don't know, I just did it. You need to know if when you're bridging up, how does that low back feel if you have low back pain? You know, what is that pelvis doing? Is it going from one side to the other? Do you feel stable when you're coming up? Do you have to anchor your feet in better? You have to pay attention to your body.
Yep.
Because to just go through the motions when I give you something or a PT gives you something is not going to serve you in the long run.
Right. You have to analyze it yourself.
And I had another client who had done that PT exercises, and she said they were killing her. And I go, why are you doing them?
Yep.
Well, they told me to. I go, but it's your body. Mm-hmm. You can have them modified. And you can look them up online and maybe do a different version of what they gave you. Don't just do them because they said so. Listen to what's going on.
I went through that for several years, and you really do have to say, wait a minute, that made it way worse. It's too cookie cutter. And you have to personalize and know you.
Right. So this is a great one. This is somebody I met probably 15 years ago. He was one of my son's friends. He played football. And when my kids were playing sports, I mean, the parents would come and I'd be there. And if the kids got hurt, they'd all line up. And the parents and I would talk and I'd show them, how to help their kids and stuff. So I had helped him years ago, but I didn't remember him completely. And then he had an issue with his kidney. And the doctors told him he was pinching internally, but they couldn't help him. And that he had to really watch what he was doing, and his kidney was shutting down and stuff. So my daughter, who's a friend of him, he looked me up and stuff, and we went through it. And he was a big squatter at the gym, not paying attention and all that kind of stuff, plus his football injuries and stuff. So I gave him all these exercises to lengthen and listen, and his kidney's been doing great and everything else. Well, he recently came in, because I hadn't seen him for a while, and he had an infection in his knee. And I said to him, so what brings you in? He goes, I had that. And he said, my leg didn't move right when it happened. It's all healed now, but my hip is not moving right. My ankle's not turning right. And my knee, my workouts, I can't lengthen like I used to. I couldn't do this, and I had the biggest smile on my face.
I was thinking that. I was thinking because
I
in my
want
head
that
what you
for
look like.
everyone. I want that for everyone. So he's been slowly getting smarter and smarter, and he's a dad now. And it just melts my heart to see that he can really read his body, and he's worried about how he's aging.
Yeah.
And he's worried about keeping his body, and he's only 30.
Wow.
So he's young, and it's just very, very cool.
I instantly,
Very
I was
cool.
smiling because I was like, she was grinning ear to ear. And she probably went like this because it was such a big grin. Good for you.
Yeah.
How
So I was
nice.
very happy. And when I see that happen, that's why I do this, because
Makes it
anybody who
worthwhile.
can do that is always going to be okay. And like we talk about, the more you listen from within, it will carry from now as you age and when you pass. So he's on that path, and he'll always be okay because he's listening.
And the other thing is, if it ever came up in some way, shape, or form in a conversation, he would be totally open to, well, did you ever think it was coming from this? Or, gee, you need to consider that. And if his kids get into sports, he's going to be totally aware of that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That was a lifetime achievement.
Right. All right. Today, getting to know you. This is a special show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is a client, and we become friends over time. He's been struggling with reactionary behavior.
Reactionary behavior,
Yeah.
not action. Reactionary.
Right. And he
which
reacts
seems-
very quickly.
Okay.
And the mouth just goes, and then once he's in it, he can't stop. And he's
Gosh.
trying so hard to help himself, where it's affecting his quality of life, his relationships, his work, everything. Because he just gets caught in the moment. And he witnessed his dad do it the other day and realized where it comes from.
Okay.
Yeah, that he's been doing it his whole life. And yeah, but now he said his dad in some ways is worse, but some days better. And his dad's telling him to calm down. So he's really trying to figure it out, but he says it just starts and he can't stop. So I told him that I would do this show for him. And I find that even my own experiences lately, I'm seeing more and more of it, that people just don't think. They just start blurting.
Yep.
They don't take that second to realize what's coming out of their mouth, and they don't care who they hurt.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, that's really sad. So years ago, I started this project called Take a Cab.
CAB.
Cab. So when you're stressed, you take a cab to get out of the situation. You get up and take a cab. You catch yourself, you assess yourself, and you breathe.
Breathe. Okay.
Yes.
Breathe.
So
Yep.
C is catch yourself, A is assess yourself, and B is breathe.
And when you say catch yourself, that is, oh,
Become aware.
I'm going to do it.
aware.
Ooh, my mouth's going.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you do it, you'll realize just that one breath, there's no way you can ever go back to that moment in time and be as angry or reactive as you were. It cuts everything instantly.
So a nice deep breath.
Just if you know you're going to start blurting and you become aware, catch yourself, take a second, go, okay, I can do this, and breathe. Nice deep breath, and it's all done. Nothing's coming out of your mouth.
I like that.
I guarantee it will not come out
It'll
of your
dissipate.
mouth. Yeah, because you're not feeding that energy, so it doesn't grow. It all of a sudden cuts the line to the energy. That's why I say take a cab, because it's removing you. You're getting in the cab and going.
Get in the cab and go.
Get in the
Gotcha.
cab and go.
Right.
Get in the cab and go. Get yourself out of the situation.
I like it.
Yeah. So that's on my new website, Awakened Wellness. There's a whole cab section of 3-minute
I'm
meditations.
gonna look for that. Okay.
So if you're stressed, go on there and do a 3-minute meditation and bring yourself back, versus yelling and screaming, getting yourself worked up, getting your cortisol levels up, getting everybody mad at you, and tainting the world with negative energy.
And stressing out your body
Stressing
systems.
out your body, huge. And what I'm seeing for him too is he says it's harder and harder on him because he's been doing so much self-work on himself. When he does do it, he feels so depleted and so depressed now, where it used to feed him, where now it's not.
Oh, he's depressed when he cabs.
Yeah.
When he grabs a cab.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. Because he's becoming more self-aware and watching himself do it now versus just being in the reaction.
So he's also realizing, so that cortisol and all that emotion and those coursing through your body, and I can't think of what the word is, but the endorphins and not the good ones. were pumping him up to a false sense of excitement and feeling good. But I'd venture to guess, if he thought about it, the drop at the end was pretty significant. And now he's dealing with it as, okay, what do I do now?
And now he's realizing what he did. Whereas before, he felt great about it.
But it was actually damage.
Yeah, and now he's realizing I hurt people. I didn't mean to say what I said and all those things.
But damaging himself as well. And not to lessen the damage to other people, but his heart, his lungs, the stress on the body is huge.
And what people don't realize is their reactionary behavior hurts everyone. You know, I had an experience recently, we had talked about it earlier in the last show too with my HOA. So when the builder decided to leave and they said we should make a meeting to transfer to the homeowners, I was really excited. I'll run the meeting and hold an election and do all of that because we all signed on to be there. So I all thought we had common interests.
Right.
Well, I was sadly mistaken.
Were you a party of two?
I was a party of one being eaten alive. And I went in as Mary Poppins. I went in as, this is great. We're going to start this whole thing. And
we can do this.
We're going to build a community. It's going to be awesome. And they all didn't want it. We're not ready. You can't do. And it got so bad that it'd be hard for me to go back on Facebook right now. Yeah.
Goodness.
But, you know, when that was happening, one of my favorite shows is American Idol. And I'd been watching it. And there was a woman on there. And she had an issue with her hair. And she was wearing a wig. And the comments, she didn't go on to go out and sing one night because the comments about her were so horrible. And she's one of the best singers in the country right now. Right?
Wow.
And people couldn't say anything nice about her. Wow. Right? So then there was another one on there. She's actually Loretta Lynn's granddaughter. And she's very nervous. And she gets up there and she's twitching. And she's an amazing singer and amazing songwriter. And again, people were belittling her. Just stick to writing songs. Your voice is horrible. You're this, you're that. And you're thinking, how can you, these people are following their dreams. They're in a position and people still can't be nice to them. You know, I'm on sites for bluebirds. You should hear the comments that people are saying. What can you say bad, you know, because people are asking questions. Oh, you're so dumb, you should know this, whatever it is. So the whole world right now just keeps blurting and nobody's thinking before they speak. Nobody's thinking. And the damage is horrible.
And they don't believe there's any consequences because I did it, I spoke my mind, I righted a wrong in their mind.
But there is no right or wrong. I mean, these people that are artists, they're not going to be perfect. I'm not perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
And you can't just belittle people for trying to be happy and
to build yourself up.
Or
after the comment from that gentleman that you're talking about, it makes me feel that this belittling of people, this cutting down of people, is to pump themselves up. Again, at what cost?
I think it's fear. You know, and it's your own low self-esteem. The only reason you're going to insult somebody about having talent more than you is because you don't like where you're at.
Right.
Because you should be happy for somebody.
I think it's the greatest joy. It's stupid, sorry, talk about TikTok, but I get these little video clips about somebody doing something good, and I'm just like, oh, you get this little warm feeling. I go to the next one, and it gets a little warmer. We need this in the world. We need to stop attacking each other. We need to stop putting each other down for what you're trying to do.
We're going back in time. We're going back in time. We are going back in time where we're bringing the hate out full bore right now. So my job right now is to give you a tool to cut it.
Okay.
So we're all going to remove ourselves. We're going to go call a cab.
Okay.
Right? If we feel like we're stressing out, call a cab. Take a cab. Catch yourself, assess yourself, and breathe. And then after that one breath, I can guarantee that train of thought is going to be gone.
Let me ask you a question about breathing. So, sounds dumb, I know, but it's not. A breath. Is it true that you really should try to breathe through your nose to fill up the lungs And exhale through the mouth that you don't want to be, because that to me leads to that stress.
Okay, you
and
just
all
asked
over.
me, is it true? Have I ever
Well, not
said
true,
there's
or
one truth here?
yeah, yeah. So I guess that's not the word I want, but is it beneficial?
If you look from a yogic perspective, there's pranayama breathing, there's all different, there's all kundalini breathing, there's all different levels of breathing techniques you can use.
Is there one better than the other? Or is it personal?
I think that if you're not a nose breather, it's going to be hard.
Okay. Okay.
I think you got to figure out what works for you in the most natural way. Mm-hmm. If you're trying to increase your volume of breath, there's a lot of exercises and practices you can do. Okay. But when you're in the throes of something, you got to go with what's most natural.
Well, I've had, and the only reason I asked that was that I had a couple of friends. I'm like, take a deep breath. Will you please chill? And they're like,
and if that's what does for them.
And I'm looking at the neck going, this isn't working, but that's
it was working for them.
For them,
it's for them, yeah. Whatever they need to do to just distract them. All this does is take your mind out of the moment. Okay. Because when you take a breath, you can't think. So if you can break that reactive train of thought, you can stop the whole thing from happening.
Because actually, I think you do have to think about breathing in those kind of circumstances. Mm-hmm. That's like a conscious effort.
So it cuts.
Yeah, gotcha.
Instantly, it stops the verbal diarrhea and you're done.
So now you can go around and go, breathe.
Yeah. So take a cab. Okay. And like I said, once you do that, click on my website. Go in there and do a 3-minute, take yourself out of it, just do the 3 minutes and then go back to life. If it's at work, just take the 3 minutes. It doesn't take much to get out of the reaction.
And 3 minutes is nothing out of your life, but it's huge in what the benefits are to you and your body.
And to the people around you. Mm-hmm. It's flat out abuse. It's verbal abuse to another human being. Because nobody is inherently right. Mm-hmm. There's many opinions on the table. So there isn't one opinion that trumps anybody else's opinion. So what makes you so special that your opinion's right?
That you know everything. Right.
I mean, in certain situations, sure, if there's like in an HOA, there's a piece of paper that tells you what's right or wrong. Mm-hmm. But other than that, everybody just has.
Or if you're a surgeon, there's one way to do.
Yeah, exactly.
This.
But for the most part, when you're sitting with your friends, it's just opinions, and everybody should be allowed to have one, so you can realize if you're missing a piece.
We're not all the same either, and don't all have the same circumstances.
We should be grateful there's different kinds of people, so we can keep learning. Because my brain doesn't stop. I love to learn everything. Yeah. So the whole goal is you really have to want to do it. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because I can say, remove yourself from the situation, take a cab, but if you don't care enough about what you're doing, it's never going to happen and you're never going to observe it and see yourself. So the only way you can stop it is to become the observer of yourself. Mm-hmm. So you have to ask yourself, am I a reactive person? Mm-hmm. And if I am, do I truly want to change that?
Right. And if you do, but you're struggling with it, then you need to do a little bit more work.
To see what you need to see. Yeah. Because if you truly mean, I do not want to be a reactive person anymore. You know, I think for me, being with Adam and him thinking it was just life because that's how he grew up, all of a sudden realized it's not okay. What an epiphany that is. You know, I can remember I grew up in a very hostile environment and all it was yelling and screaming and reactive behavior. And my husband's a very calm man. And I met him when I was 17. And I'll never forget the first 4 or 5 years because I would start screaming at him and he'd be standing there going, I'm not going to yell back. I don't even know why you're yelling at me. This is really ridiculous. Why are you yelling at me? But I didn't know any other way to communicate. Yep. Because it's the first thing I learned. Mm-hmm. So it took me time. Now I can't even go there. Yeah, if I went there, it would deplete me so bad.
You don't. I've actually never heard you raise your voice.
Oh, it took me, when I got very ill, I had to learn, like my kids weren't allowed to raise their voice because my nervous system just couldn't handle it. And over time, I had to learn all these techniques to not get stressed in any which way. And then I watched myself over the years, I'd once in a while get stressed, it would just deplete the heck out of me because it wasn't my energy anymore. Mm-hmm. But that's all I knew early on in life was to be stressed. So I've lived both sides of it, which is pretty wild.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I think as you grow and as you know yourself more and more, you realize the cool word of the day, triggers, that everybody likes to use. I'm triggered, I'm triggered, I'm triggered. Well, stop being triggered. And I am.
The minute you tell yourself it's my trigger, you're aware and you can fix that.
I was just going to say that. We
That's the
say
story.
it, but then we do nothing of it.
Story
Yeah.
you tell yourself, and it makes it okay. But if you know it's your trigger, you are very much aware, and you can become the observer yourself and get rid of it.
You can step right out of that and like you said, become the observer, look back at yourself and say, grab a cab.
Right.
You need to. That's when you become the observer of your behavior. If you become the observer of your bad behavior, you can then take that next step.
And that can go for not just reactive behavior. What about people, like I have a girlfriend that struggled with the food. And she said, if it's there, and I go, do you know you're doing it? She goes, no, by the time I realize I've already eaten 3 cupcakes. Now she knows. And she still does it. Now she can take that cab and not do it.
Correct.
Right.
Wow.
But until you become aware, you can't correct.
And we also, with the way that the world is right now, it's just spinning out of control. Everybody's angry. Everybody's just jumping down everybody's throat. Maybe we need a shirt or a sticker, I'm thinking.
I'll make them for next show.
CAB, and we need to spread it.
We'll have sweatshirts.
Yeah. Now tell everybody about the website, how they get to your website.
Okay, so what I did was I made awakenedwellness.life is the website. And when you click in it, it has my blogs on it and it has a bunch of information, but it asks you to join the membership. The membership is free.
Okay.
So I want to keep it because I want to start putting a comment section and everything else, and I want to keep it kind of inclusive. I don't want it just to be out and...
Right.
And parts of it has some challenges in it already that you can go in and try and challenge yourself. Just something that you can play with. For this week, I want to become more aware of this in myself. And I'm going to try to keep posting them. I have to figure out how to get to the comments under those. But I am going to police the comments, let me tell you.
Oh, well, we need to.
Yeah, I don't want anybody belittling it. I am not into that at all. And I am only about people wanting to learn about themselves. And if you find out there's something stupid about yourself, I'd love to hear it. Because I do stupid things all the time. And that's what makes us us.
Correct.
And then there's another section in there that's all meditations, the take a cab stuff, and then my stuff from my body within's in there as well.
Good.
But I'm trying to add more take a cab stuff. I want to do a whole section on, I'm going to start making some classes that people can take and start to learn more about themselves. So it's going to build as we go.
As we go. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not completely complete yet, but you can at least go in there and get the challenges and the meditations right now.
Now, in the earlier show, you talked about people daily checking in with themselves and doing a checklist.
I should put those in there. I'll put those in there too.
I said, put those.
Yeah, I'm going to put those in there. Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
So you put those in there, but where I was going to go was, if you feel that you can't go there every day to check in, well, number one, you could do a reminder on your calendar, but you could also print it out, people, and then just do a little booklet. Because some people, I like to write. So,
you can print them into booklets.
Print them, put in a booklet, and then just kind of do a self-check, go back and look. So if that's sort of a thing you want to do once a month, once a week,
and the daily check-in is great with this Take a Cab as well, because you can ask yourself, did I engage in reactive behavior today? When did I think I did that and what triggered me? So then you can start to become more aware.
Yep.
So if you can backtrack your day and realize you did it by checking in on yourself, you can start to become more aware, because most people just do it and don't think about it and move on.
Correct.
And it's the ones that take the hit are down for days.
Correct.
Weeks.
Trying to crawl back out of the hole.
Because they just,
Well, it came out of left field and it wasn't.
It's abuse. It's abuse.
We need to call it what it is. It's abuse.
It's abuse.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not okay on any level.
No.
Well, awesome. This has been 2 really good shows, and I think you've been getting some incredible feedback. And it's
nice to see the changes. Even my daughter, it was really funny because she's got her fiance and his family, and all of a sudden they're all coming on board with all her changes, and the energy is just starting to flood, and they all want to change their lifestyle. They all want to get healthier. They're all out there walking with her now. And I just said to her, you should be so proud. She goes, it's so weird. And I'm like, You know, because you're not in their face. You're just doing your thing. They
they're
ask
coming
you a
along.
question and you answer, but you're not telling them they have to do this or they should do this. There's none of that.
Right. They're just looking and
You can
seeing.
only be where you're at and just be curious. If you're curious, your life will change. If you are stuck and you won't listen and you won't ask questions, you're never
You're
going
not
to
going to go anywhere. No, you're going to be just that little lump of coal right there.
Curiosity is awesome.
We love curiosity. Curiosity, calmness, and be polite. So that's the challenge. Look at your behaviors and how you react in situations. If you don't like it, get on the website and look up CAB, C-A-B.
Yep.
Fabulous. We will see you in a couple of weeks. I hope you join us, Miss Marie, marienotig.com and awakenedwellness.life. Get there. We want to see you there, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Have a great day.